So now let's talk about modifying blocks. And for that, I'll use the blocks which we created in the previous example. So I'll go to Insert and I'll select the front plane. And on this plane, I'm going to insert the blocks which we already created. So I'll go to Browse, Desktop, Blocks folder, and I'll select Mesh Holes SolidWorks block, open, and I'll just click here to align it with respect to our view, and I'll insert the first block. All right, let's insert the second block. So I'll go to Insert again and Browse, and this time I'm going to insert the AutoCAD block. So I'll go to this AutoCAD DWG block, slot, open, and I'm just going to insert it in our drawing. Again, this is really huge, so I'm going to just decrease its scale to 0.2, and I'll just insert it right here. All right, click OK. So we've got two of these blocks. Now, if you want to modify these blocks, then you can do that using the block modify tool here. So first, you just need to select the block which you want to modify. When you select any entity from your block, this block modify tool or the edit block tool will highlight. Also, you can click on edit here to modify your block, and if you want to just change the insertion point, click here and then move your insertion point to somewhere else. So in this case, we just want to modify our block. So you can just click here to edit your block, or you can click here to edit your block. Now we are in the block editing mode, and all the objects will look kind of like this. They're all separate. So in this case, I'll just select all of these circles and I'll delete it. I'll also select all of these circles and I'll delete them as well. So that's what we have now. Now we are done with this. This is the kind of block which I want. So for that, I'll now click OK. Here, exit out of this block environment, and now we have a completely updated block. So if you select Insert block now, and if you select the mesh holes, it's going to look completely different because we have modified the mesh holes block. Now in a similar way, let's modify this block. So I'll select this, and now I'll go to this edit block, or once again you can click here to edit the block. So I'll just click here. All right, now we are in the block editor environment. As you can see, we have exit block option now. So here I will insert two circles. So I'll just select a circle, and maybe I'll just add a circle, a small one here, and another small circle right here. So I'll just go to circle and here. All right, now the radius or the diameter here, I'll just make it 30. All right, and also we can just make these two equal. So I'll just select these two and I'll make it equal. All right, so we have made these changes. Now with this change, you can once again exit it, and now we have a modified block. Now this one is also a block which was inserted in our drawing from DWG. So it is just modifying the block which is in our drawing. It's not going to affect the actual DWG file in any way. So if I go to Insert and select this slot, the slot will look entirely different. Now we have the two circles which we modified. Now if you want to add objects or remove objects from your existing block, then you can do that using this add or remove option. For that, once again, you just need to go to your block and select the edit block option. Now this add or remove option will activate. To use this add or remove option, you first need to have entities that you can add or remove. So in this case, I'll just create ellipses here, maybe the first ellipse here and a second ellipse right about here. So I've got these two ellipses added here. Now, as you can see, when we add this thing, it is automatically adding it in the block. But if for whatever reason you want to remove any of these, then you can go to this add remove option and now select the objects which you want to remove. For example, in this case, I just want to remove these two circles. All right, now these two will be removed from my block. And if you want to add anything, well, you can just add it. Here it is already adding these two ellipses just by default, but for whatever reason, if these are not selected, you can click to add it. So once you click it, it will add it, and if you click again, well, that's going to remove it. So we have all of these objects now added in this list. As you can see, all of these are in our list except for these two circles. So we are now making block with all of these objects except for these two. Once you are done, click OK, and now we have a completely different kind of block. As you can see here, we have a different block. We no longer have these two circles, and these two new ellipses are also added. So once you are done, you can exit out of this block environment like this. Now, if you want to explode a block and convert it into normal drawing entity, then that option is right here. once again, you need to start by selecting the block first. So I'll just select this block, and as you know, a block is a completely locked entity, so it's just one single unit. If you want to convert it back into all the separate objects, then select the block and click on this explode option. And now we are back to normal entities. So now these circles are separate, this thing is separate, so it's all separate now. It's no longer a block. But this won't affect all the other references of the block. For example, this block, we already have it, so it's not going to affect this one. It will explode only the block that you have selected. Now let's exit out of this sketch environment and let's create one more block. So I'll go to sketch, and maybe I'll just select a different plane, top plane this time, and I'll just create a hexagon here, and I'll add a circle. All right, now before we wrap this up, we'll convert this thing into a block. So again, this is just a simple entity, and if you want to convert it into a block, well, you have the option right here. So you can just make a block and this will add your block right inside this drawing. But if you don't want to add your block inside your current drawing and just want to save it as a separate file, you can simply click on this option, Save Sketch as Block. Now this will save your current sketch, which is this one, into a completely different block. So here I'll just name it hex bolt, and this will save it as SolidWorks block in the same folder. So I'll click on save, and now we have a hex bolt block. Now if you want to insert this block, once again the workflow will be exactly the same. So all you've got to do is just go to this insert option, select a plane on which you want to add it, maybe top plane this time, and now go to browse and select the hex bolt. So I'll go to desktop, blocks, hex bolt, open, and there we are, we have got the hex bolt. I'll just click on this normal too so that we can see it clearly, and here we are, we have got the hex bolt added here. So that's how you can insert the block which you have saved otherwise. The only problem is, in this case, the insertion point will be at the origin, which is right here. So when I'm inserting this block, as you can see in this drawing, when I'm inserting it, this hex bolt, my cursor is at some distance and it is actually at this origin. So if I just move it right here, you can see that it almost overlaps with this one, and that's because that was the location of origin. So if you want to ensure that base point remains wherever you want, then just make your block in such a way that this origin is exactly at the base point. So in this case, we can just move this original object right here on the origin and then save it as a block. So that's how you can modify blocks in SolidWorks.